Hello guys, today I will discuss what is fish processing and the different methods of fish preservation. So first, we will understand what is fish processing. So the term fish processing, it refers to the processes associated with fish and fish products between the time fish are caught and harvested and the time the final product is delivered to the customers. So the harvested fish should be cleaned and cooled as soon as possible due to their strong digestive juices. Fish spoil very soon and if not gutted and cleaned promptly, may develop off flavor and color. So importante nga after makuha ang isda sa dagat is kinahanglan siya nga limpyuhan dayon and panghuaon ang katong mga parts sa fish nga dali ra madubok. And then a sharp knife, clean cloth, plastic bags, and crushed ice must be kept ready for gutting and cleaning of fish. So those are mga gamiton para sa pag-process sa fish. So with the help of knife, fish should be cleaned and bled. Throat should be cut and gills and entrails are removed. So to prevent contamination, hands, working area, cutting boards, knives, and other utensils should be properly cleaned with water and soap. So, fish processing considers a lot of ways or steps in order to preserve the fish. So, cleaned fish first be put in plastic bags and then in ice. So, there are major forms of processed fish. So, first is the whole fish. So, kining whole fish is wala pa ni siya gitangtangan og mga parts. And then, ikaduha is gutted fish without head. So, ang gutted fish is gitangtangan na siya og ang gitangtangan na og ulo ang isda. So, ikatulo is gutted fish without head and fins. So, ang ikatulo nga form sa pre-processed fish is gitangtangan siya og ulo og fins. So, ikaapat is sliced whole fish after beheading and evisceration. So, ang ikaapat nga pre-processed fish is gislice na siya. And then, ikalima is fillet with ribs. So, ang ikalima is unod na lang. Ang ikaunom is fillet without ribs, with or without skin. So, ang kining last or kining six nga form sa pre-processed fish is unod na lang gid ni siya, wala siya bukog and wala na siya panit. So next is fish preservation. So preservation is the processing of food so that they can be stored for a longer time. So from the word preservation, so it is the process wherein ang isda is gi-preserve. So since ang isda is dali raman siya kanang mawala galang ang iyang freshness is kinahanglan jud siya i-preserve. So naay manggipanggamit nga mga preservatives para ang isda is ma-preserve siya. So preservation of fish is done to prevent spoilage since fish is very perishable. So dali ra siya madubok. It is therefore necessary to preserve fish if not consumed or disposed immediately. So kinahanglan nga if ang fish is dili siya lutoon dayon or kanang dili dayon siya lutoon dayon is kinahanglan siya nga i-preserve siya para dili siya madubok. So ikaduha is fish preservation is the method of extending the shelf life of fish and other fishery products by applying the principles of chemistry, engineering, and other branches of science in order to improve the quality of the products. So sa pag-preserve sa fish is kinahanglan kag kinahanglan nga mahibawan kung unsaon pag-preserve ang isda. So some of the important reasons for preserving foods are: first, to take care of excess produce. Number 2, reaches areas where the food item is not available. So kinahanglan nga if for example ikaw naninda ka is lagyo ang imong mga customers, so kinahanglan ang imong isda is preserve siya para og maabot ka sa lugar is maura gihapon ang quality sa isda ang imong gibaligya. And then makes transportation and storage of foods easier. So ikaapat is preserving foods at home. So ang last is pag-preserve sa isda sa balay. So nanan tayong mga gamit to like ref. So may mostly common naman ang ginagamit sa mga tao is aside sa cooler is magamit siya og ref. So Fish foods can be preserved by the following methods. So there are different types of methods on how to preserve fish. So first is salting, next is dehydration, ikatulo is increasing temperature or smoking, ikaapat is lowering temperature or chilling and freezing, ikalima is using preservatives or canning and pickling. So first we have to understand what is salting. So salting is the first method of fish preservation. So salt is the preservative agent used to lengthen the shelf life of fish and fishery products as it absorbs moisture from organisms and drastically reduce spoilage. So one of the simplest methods of fish preservation is salting, wherein kini nga method is as sagana pa lang niya dan is salting. So nagamit siya og asin. So ang this is used in almost all methods of preservation except in icing, refrigeration, and freezing. So if not dili available sa inyo ang a ref or ice, so pinaka convenient na gamiton is ang salt. So there are many different kinds of salt, some being better than others for fish curing. A distinction must be made between the two chief techniques of salting. So there are two types of salting. We have wet salting and dry salting. So when we say wet salting, this is the cheaper since it requires lesser amount of salt. And then the principle is to keep the fish for a long time in brine. The equipment needed consists of a watertight container, which can be a tin, drum, barrel. To make the brine, one takes 4 parts of clean water or sea or fresh water. So pwede ra magamit og fresh water or tubig sa dagat, and 1 part of salt. So if the salt is coarse, it has to be grounded or pounded first. So if ang asin niyo is buo, so kinahanglan siyang i-pulverize or kanang i-powder siya ba. And then it is then dissolved into the water by stirring with a piece of wood. So kinahanglan pud siya nga i-dissolve siya or hilison siya sa tubig. To be good, the brine must float a fish. So the next step depends on what kind of fish one wants to salt. So it is best first to cut off the head and gut and clean the fish. Though small fish can also be salted whole, large fish must be cut open and it is preferable to take out the backbone. So fish with heavy armor of scales must be scaled. In places where the flesh is thick, slashes must be made so that the salted brine can penetrate the flesh. So kato na prepare na ang katong water ug ang asin is sunog nimo baton is humo lang isda didto. So mo nay tawag na wet salting. So next is dry salting. In this method, the fish is salted but juices and brine are allowed to flow away. So ang juices sa isda or ang katong brine is pwede siya nga wala na dili na nimo pwede na nimo i-dispose. So next, dry salting can be done in an old canoe or on mats, leaves, boxes or any. So in any case, the brine formed by the fish juices and the salt must be allowed to run away. So ang kining dry salting is kuan siya sa Bisaya pa is ibuwad ang isda. For 2 parts of fish, one needs 1 part of salt. Layers of fish must be separated by layers of salt. It is a valuable method when one has no containers. So next is the sun drying and dehydration. Drying is the process in which moisture is removed, exposure to natural air current as humidity as it regulated by climatic condition. So dehydration is the process of removing moisture with the use of mechanical device that provides artificial heat for drying. Very small and thin fish can be dried straight away in the sun if they are brought in early enough in the morning, and if, of course, the sun is shining. If these conditions are not fulfilled, the fish must be put for 1 night in brine or dry salted, so they can be dried the next morning. So next is smoking. Any kind of fish can be smoked. There are 3 main main meat of smoking. So first is cold smoking, next is hot smoking, and last is long smoking.